what's up?
What's up, Chris? It's been
How
a
are you?
bit.
It has been a bit.
I'm great. I'm great. It's perfect weather. We had a pretty long weekend, and so now it's just catching up, spending some more time outside now that the sun's out. I'm great. How are you?
I mean, the sun is out, which bears to mind things like I should get outside. I should go for a walk, maybe a run if I'm feeling up to it. Um, and then also, we just had Memorial Day, maybe had some hot dogs, hamburgers, drinks.
Mhm.
But it also bears to mind maybe I should temper that a little bit.
I know, because when you're outside, you're outside.
Yeah, for sure. But a lot of this has to do with our conversation today, which leads into a pretty exciting event tomorrow,
Yes.
which is the first ever Big Picture Living Day.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited to
I'm
hear
excited
about it.
too. And hopefully, folks, if you're going to be joining us for the events of Big Picture Living Day, we'll talk about what those events are shortly. You're wearing green because, at the very least, we want people to be wearing green. Not only because big picture green,
Mhm.
but also I feel like green evokes things like the earth and healthiness and just
Life. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. What do you think? Should we get started?
Yeah, let's get started. We have a lot to talk about.
All right, let's start by introducing our colleague, Dr. Danique Dolly, Dr. D, Danique, Dad, whatever name you want to go by. We are pleased to have you here, sir. So welcome.
Oh, it's good to be here, and thank you for having me. I have my cup of joy, which is water.
Hmm.
Something that used to be free, and now you got to pay for it. But I have my little cup of joy because the minute you drink a little water, your heart rate just settles a bit. So it just keeps me settled.
Mm.
And yeah, good to be here.
Glad to have you. I think we want to kick off. So, Chris, and so this is the first year for BP Living Day. Um, I want to talk a little bit about like the inception of it, and then if you can kind of describe what BP Living Day looks like, what it should feel like. Yeah.
All right. Well, what I do know about I joined forces with Big Picture Living when it got started, but it got started around COVID. And
Mm.
actually, Elliot Washer and some others really started this endeavor. And I just, like I said, I just joined in because it was something that was important to me as well. So I'll give you my version of coming on in. Um, it's a thing, Big Picture Living is a partnership, first of all, with youth. It's for youth, most importantly, young people in and outside of schools. It's about health and wellness. It's about healthy living, and it's about lifestyle medicine. Uh, Many people don't know what lifestyle medicine really is. We talk about these words, lifestyle and all this stuff, but we don't understand lifestyle as medicine. And according to the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, it is something that incorporates 6 healthy habits: adequate sleep, eating proper nutrition, movement, de-stressing, having healthy relationships, and knowing how to avoid substances that may be harmful. If you bring those 6 things together, and it becomes like a fist that can fight off and be preventative towards chronic diseases. Everybody always talks about, oh, somebody in my family, might have had a heart attack, might have stroke, might have this, that, or the other, or even at a younger age, this stuff is happening. And a lot of this relates to what we consume and
Hmm.
how, and those 6 things that we sometimes do not always take care of in relationship to ourselves. One of them, for myself, for example, I may not sleep the way I'm supposed to all the time. But now that I know I'm supposed to have 7 hours, and the difference between 7 versus, let's say, even 8 hours to our life, or to 6 hours, like, it matters that much to the longevity of your life. These things go down to that level of detail. So it's something that we felt is important for people to know,
Hmm.
especially being that we have students in our life. And I'll stop after this point, but it's like the CDC says by 2050, 1 out of 3 people will be diabetic. But I know 3 out of 3 people think it won't be them. And so, when are they learning how to eat right? Or when are they learning about movement? Or when are they learning how to de stress? We all know what's going on with mental health nowadays. So,
Hmm.
Big Picture Living Day is about making you aware of all those things, but also showing you what can be done, spending time with Chef Bree and talking about proper nutrition, spending time with Dr. Marsha Gale Davis and talk about the 6 healthy habits, spending time and actually doing yoga with Dawn M. Rivers. Um, and even spending time to talk about the hard topics that most people don't talk about, the elephants in the room, substance abuse, trauma, and things that actually affect one's mental health. So that's what we're doing. We're coming together to celebrate life and think of this as your ultimate self-care day.
And so BP Living Day itself is June 2nd, tomorrow, but I know that we're kicking off today, right, with an event with Chef.
Yeah, I'm talking to former colleague and friend of mine, Chef Bree, who we used to work together as principal and advisor at the Met School in Providence, Rhode Island, a big picture school. So we're going to get together. We're hoping some alumni will be able to join us, and everybody's working, so we're like, hey, hopefully you can come on down and talk with us as well, and just talk about like changes in our lives. Sabrina went from an educator to an entrepreneur who's doing like great things as a chef. Have also transitioned myself, being a principal, going into, and that being and moving that level of education to the education of health, because health is wealth. So we're going to talk about this a little bit and just talk about what we've seen and our own growth.
Well, I hope we don't steal the thunder of tonight's Chat and Chew with Chef Bree. It's not an exclusive because we also have Chef Bree here on Cup of Joy as well.
Good morning, everybody.
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
This is my cup of joy this morning. This is how I'm breaking my fast.
And before we get started, I want to make sure that we get an early plug in for you. If you want to know more about Chef Bree, then we're going to cover in the next 7 minutes. Please visit her website at theaivegan.com. That's not the artificial intelligence vegan.
Absolutely not. I was so stunned to see that on Veg News a couple weeks ago. I was like,
Right.
Wait a second. No, it's the Afro-Indigenous vegan.
Chef Bree, I have a question for you.
What's that?
Big Picture Learning is a network of schools across the country and across the world. Why a focus on healthy eating? What does it have to do with education?
It has everything to do with education, because the more educated we are, the better decisions we can make regarding our health. Like Donnie said, I actually was a part of the Big Picture Learning community for over 20 years. And then I went from that stage to the next. And it was kind of like a seamless transition, honestly, because I always taught health education in my classes. I even had a hydroponic garden a few years back. So my students were able to grow their own food. And that was based on a discussion about sustainability and knowing the importance of where your food came from. And this was way before the Afro-Indigenous vegan even began. So it was kind of always embedded in anything that I taught anyway.
Can either of you or both of you give us a preview of if we attend tonight's Chat and Chew? Like, what are some of the things we're going to hear? What are some things we might do?
Dr. Don?
You know what? One of the things we were talking about, I know we're talking about, Sabrina, is just things to do and not to do, first of all. Like we're going to play with something called Stop That. Just stop it. Like, there's certain things we're doing that we just have to be aware that, hey, you don't need to really do this anymore. You don't need, if you're still drinking soda, like, stop it. Just stop. What are you doing? Do you know how much sugar is in soda? Do you really know what it does to you? Do you realize that we consume more sugar than almost anybody on the planet? Like, and it does relate to diabetes. So just stop it. Just stop. We gotta stop. Just stop. So we're gonna do some of that, talk about our own transition, and also, hear from some others who have, enjoyed transition in life after Big Picture or life after the Met. Sabrina, what else? Or Chef Bree, what else we got?
We will probably have a cooking demonstration, which I think is important. Something quick and easy and convenient for folks. So hopefully we can have that. But I think it's really interesting that some of the alumni that we hope are able to fit us into their busy work and life schedules have also undergone a lifestyle change. And I love that Donique said lifestyle medicine, because it is. Most people think of vegan as like a diet. So vegan, keto, paleo. But the one thing that's consistent in saying that is the word diet. Diet is not a lifestyle change. And if you diet, notice how when people diet, this is why there's a such thing as yo-yo dieting, because you're only keeping it off for a certain amount of time, because you're doing it for this particular, you're just doing it to lose weight. You're not doing it to really affect your health in a positive way. You're not doing it to positively affect your lifestyle. If you want a sustainable change, then you have to incorporate it into your lifestyle. Lifestyle is so important. And I don't think people really understand that it literally is a lifestyle change. If you want to see anything sustainable over time, it has to become a part of your lifestyle change. And I think that is the biggest key concept. And most people don't want to change their lifestyles because it includes a sacrifice. I like chips. I used to love Funyuns, but is that good for me? Yeah, probably not. You know what I'm saying? So it's just making those changes and you will see results. Because I also teach a wellness class, and I focus on the 8 pillars of wellness. So what Donique was saying about the 6 areas, that is part of what I do. So the trauma and mental health and all that is all incorporated into your wellness. And people always say that they want to be well, but the only part of wellness that most people speak of is diet and exercise. No. It's like literally a domino effect. If one area is off, the other areas are off. How are you supposed to function if everything is out of balance? So that's what I focus on. So I am Chef Bree. I'm your personal wellness warrior. I create individualized wellness plans. And that is, an idea that for 800 million years working with Big Picture Living, one size does not fit all. For education, one size does not fit all for your wellness. So it's all about focusing on that. And I just guide you. I know a lot about a lot, but I do not know everything about everything. So I just guide you in your direction and help you create individualized wellness plans to keep you focused, to keep you on track, because it's all about balance. It's all about balance.
What is the one, like if folks are watching this and they're going to get ready to tune in tonight, what is the one thing that they should already just start thinking about, if they don't already, to help support, I wouldn't say a change or maybe even a change, but what do you think is like the one thing folks should at least get started on?
The first thing I ask my clients is, what are you willing to sacrifice to be well? What are you willing to sacrifice? Because anything worth having requires some sort of sacrifice. And is your health and well-being worth the sacrifice of you not consuming certain things or making sure that you are home and getting enough sleep? Sleep is so important. I'm glad you mentioned that, Donique, because we don't understand how important sleep is, because we're taught when we're little, get 8 hours of sleep, right? But that's all they say to us. They don't tell us why. Just get 8 hours of sleep. Okay, 8 hours so that we're functional for the 8 hours that we have to spend in work. But like, what? Why? Well, obviously, not obvious to some people, but when we go to sleep, that's our rest and repair phase. Our bodies are magnificent creatures, and we've been gifted with the power to heal ourselves. But are we healing ourselves by putting the wrong things into our bodies? Absolutely not. We wouldn't take our car to a mechanic that had a pencil, a paper clip, and a thumbtack to fix our car. So why do we do that to our bodies? We don't give our bodies the proper things in order to heal themselves. So
we're basically, I agree. I'm just adding. We're basically saying we're saying you're not gonna learn, just like all the things you're supposed to around health and wellness, if you don't go deeper.
absolutely.
We're saying that somebody told me about skydiving. Like, the risk you take when you jump out of an airplane and do skydiving, but you do not know the risk you take when you live every day with the diet that we have as Americans right now.
Absolutely.
You do not know the risk you take when you consume milk and you're lactose intolerant. You do not know the risk you take when you consume meat that is injected with sodium, which is what happens with meat. Like these things that they're doing with the food that we eat is not the same food that we were eating 100 years ago.
Absolutely
Right.
not.
So, and this is documented stuff. So you're eating highly processed foods a lot. Do you know that is 70% of the salt that is manufactured goes towards manufactured foods, like a highly processed food, excuse me. So if you don't know these things, you can't change. You don't want to change, and it's
Can I?
not going to. And you're not going to do that by a Ozempic, a diet pill. And as you see, both
That's
of
an
us can
injection.
ride on this forever. I'll let you take it, Sabrina. Take it, Chef Bree, please.
I just wanted to add on to what you said about processed foods. So here's a misconception about vegan. Vegan does not inherently mean healthy. I want people to understand that, because the amount of processed vegan foods that are out there, and I think it's great for some people to try to get away from a lot of the meat that has been, like Donique said, injected and antibiotics and so on and so forth. But you can't replace that with a highly processed vegan burger. You can't do that. So if you're going to eat the meat, then find a good sourced meat, grass-fed, grass-finished. If you can, pasture-raised. Make sure that it's high quality and local if you are going to do that, because replacing a high quality steak with an Impossible burger is shooting yourself in the foot. You may as well eat the high quality steak. And I know people are going to be like, oh my gosh, she's a vegan chef. No, I'm a chef for real. And I focus on healing people, and I focus on teaching people how to heal themselves. Let me retract that. Teaching people how to heal themselves using food. Because food is the cause and cure of so many illnesses. We can eat ourselves sick, but we can also eat ourselves well.
Nice.
So if you're going vegan or plant-based, try Whole Foods plant-based. And I'm not talking about just the market. I'm talking about like fruits and vegetables and less processed stuff. Don't replace that. You know what I mean? Don't replace the real thing with something that's far worse because it's been processed and has a lot of chemicals in it, but it's labeled vegan or plant-based. That's still not healthy. And the importance of reading labels. We have to know what's in our food. And when I teach the little ones, I tell them, if it has 5 ingredients and you can't pronounce it, that's a problem. Don't put it in your mouth.
And so what you're hearing is we're going to shower you with all of this type of information. And that's what Big Picture Living Day is about. That's what later on today is about. As you see, the knowledge that, and we're educators. We didn't start with this 20 years ago. And yet we know so much information and so quickly because it is out there. And it's like people need to know. Let's illuminate some of the problems, but also talk about ourselves as the solution and engage people in, eating right, hearing from doctors, or movement, and doing some of those things. So that's what it's about.
Chef Bree, you can never give away too much of this information. Thank you so much. We appreciate you both. I do want to point out that both of you at one point or other mentioned the youth that will be involved tomorrow. So raising that back up, because that's really important, and glad that you've been able to recruit some young people into this. Thank you both for joining us this morning. We look forward to hearing from you more this evening.
All right.
Thank you, y'all.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. Was that you?
Okay.
Carlos having some yard work done. Listen, I wanted to mention, because I don't think Donique had a chance to, is that Big Picture Living Day happens in some virtual spaces. So we want to make sure people know where to go. So some of it will be on Instagram Live and some of it will be on Zoom. So the entire agenda, as well as the links you'll need to access these events this evening and tomorrow, can be found on the Big Picture Living website _BPLiving Day. So this is all very exciting.
Yes. No, I'm excited. Excited to get out. I'm excited to participate. Yeah, it left me thinking a lot.
All right, Carla. Well, I also, I don't know if you've seen the schedule, but there's a lot of really engaging conversations going on tomorrow. There's also a yoga session, which I'm excited about, not very familiar with, so I might need to do some stretching before.
Yes, stretching is so important. People forget that.
All right. So with that,
We hope you make it a great day or not. The choice is all yours.
all right, we'll see you soon.